What's up? What is going on? Welcome to another episode of Hey Mark, the podcast where I, Mark, get to have open and authentic conversations about things like mental health and self-development. And the reason I'm out here having these types of discussions is because I want to try and help alleviate some of the suffering that's happening out there in silence. For those of you that kind of are out there thinking like, hey, nobody's ever been through what I'm going through right now, or maybe no one else really feels the way I do, or no one else thinks the kind of thoughts that I think, or the way I think, or whatever it could be, whatever you're feeling, you know, you're my people. You're the type of people that I want to be around and the people that I want to talk to, because I want you to know that no matter what it is that you're going through, you're not alone, and life can and will get better for you. And so, if you're down with that kind of message, you'll probably like this podcast. If you're not down with that shit, you'll probably want to go and listen to something else. So just turn this off now. But if I still got you, then welcome to the Hey Mark podcast. And let's, go on this little journey, this ride together. I think that these are important conversations to have. I think maybe they're important perspectives to think about, or, hopefully just listening to me kind of ramble on or go through my own thoughts entertains you at the least bit, right? So I don't think I'm as entertaining as I think, but anyways, let's jump into what I actually wanted to chat about with you guys today, which is, something that kind of happens when, one of our friends, maybe they're struggling with something, maybe they have a problem that keeps reoccurring in their life, maybe they just, whatever it could be, maybe they ask for advice, maybe anything, right? And I think a lot of the time when we have to give somebody constructive criticism or some advice that's actually going to help them out in life, it seems like it's kind of cruel, or it seems like it's kind of mean, and it's kind of looked down upon sometimes. Like a lot of people, like when you're in a group and you're like kind of like brutally honest with someone, that like people are kind of like, whoa, man, you should have been nicer. You could have hurt their feelings. You could have embarrassed them. You could have, whatever. And I think a lot of the time we kind of almost enable people with this idea that we have to always be polite, that we always have to make people feel good. And I think that a lot of the time it actually puts people in more dangerous positions. And I see this a lot of the time, like the where I first started seeing this, where it started to irritate me a lot, was in the fitness industry, actually, when I used to work in the gym. And I would always see like kind of, and I'm not trying to pick on any of my buddies that are personal trainers, because Lord knows I have my own flaws, and I'm not trying to say anything. I'm just giving this as an example, okay? So I see a lot of the times like people come into a gym or a fitness facility and they want some advice. And I get we're all human. So before I say this, just understand, I understand that we're all human, but bear with me. People will come into the gym and they'll basically say to their trainer, my life is miserable. They won't say those words, but that's essentially what they're telling their trainer. They're like, look, I'm fucked and I need help. And which is fine. I've been in that position so many times in my life. If anything, that's a better position to be in than the stubborn fucking guy who just, continues to have these reoccurring problems and then always stays in the same place. Like there's something behind being humble enough to ask for help when you need it. So I always congratulate people right off the bat for that. Like, it's like, hey, look, man, like, it's okay to ask for help. If anything, that's congratulated, right? But then they get this trainer who's supposed to help them out with their nutrition and their workouts and all these things, and they start to try and, like, build plans so that they can, like, accommodate, like, some of the old bad habits of that person. And they try and say, hey, and we do need to make gradual steps, obviously, and start to, change it when we start to change our lives. We can't just do everything all at once. We have to do things gradually. But the idea that we justify or make people think that it's okay to eat things like, you get those ads on Instagram where it's like, I'll teach you how to be lean and be jacked and still eat, Sour Patch Kids every single day and garbage, and, you can eat burgers every day or whatever. And it's like, I get it if the goal is just to have abs, but isn't the idea to teach people like how to be healthy and how to be happier without all of those junk foods? Like, and we justify, like, even with our friends when they go through breakups, like, if they develop terrible coping mechanisms, like, boozing or doing drugs, hitting the bottle, like sleeping with a bunch of random people, like we're like, oh yeah, it's better than, being with that ex. And it's like, no, both things are bad. Like we shouldn't enable bad decisions just because we view them as better alternatives to a problem that we've seen our friends go through. And we shouldn't do it to ourselves either. That's a complete different story in terms of how we enable ourselves and almost gaslight ourselves, which I could go into for hours. But I'm just saying, when we give other people advice, like, we tend to sugarcoat it and try and keep it as polite and try and accommodate to whatever, coping mechanisms they have, when really we're not being honest about what's actually good. And we also kind of pick and choose to project kind of like our own values onto other people and tell them, what they should and shouldn't be doing. So that's kind of like, I guess if this is going to be like an episode that's about like kind of giving advice or taking advice or whatever it could be, I'd say like kind of any tips I could give would be, first off, if you're going to give someone advice, you should probably ask for the permission. Like, hey, do you want to hear some of my advice? Do you want to hear my thoughts? Do you want to hear my perspective? Because sometimes people are just saying shit and they already know the solution and they just aren't doing it because they really just don't want it bad enough. And so hearing you say your opinion, which they probably already agree with, is a good decision. It usually angers them because they know, hey, I should be acting on this thing and this person knows it and I know it, but I'm sticking to stay in my little comfort zone. And this could be anything. Like, this could be in regards to like substance abuse. This could be in regards to toxic relationships. This could be in regards to, maybe eating behaviors or literally anything, right? Like, what I'm saying is we shouldn't be afraid of, I guess you don't want to just stomp all over someone's feelings, but the main concern should be about helping them. And that's what I think that we should think about when we're having discussions with people is, what kind of problems are they telling me about and what kind of solutions do I see? Like, how can I help this person? Not how can I judge this person? Not how can I make them feel bad, but also not the opposite. Not how can I make them feel comfortable? Not how can I make them feel happy all the time? I think that if you actually love somebody, the value to you to see them genuinely happy should be paramount. And so encouraging short-term or temporary happiness because you don't want to make them uncomfortable by having an honest conversation, or because you don't want to hurt their feelings because it's something they're upset about or shy about, or it's a fresh wound. In my opinion, and there's going to be a bunch of people that disagree with this, but I think honesty is the best way to go about it. And I think a little bit of brutal honesty that kind of embarrasses someone or hurts someone's feelings is probably going to be fucking more impactful for their life and more helpful for them than something that just lets them feel good about whatever negative coping mechanisms they have and then continue doing them. So, in my eyes, if you actually love somebody, then that brutal honesty is a lot better than some fucking fluffy foo-foo shit. So, that's the way I look at it. That is the way I look at it. So if you love somebody, be fucking brutally honest. And I'm not saying like don't tell, like obviously appreciate them for everything that they do great and appreciate them for everything that they add to your life and give to you. But when it comes time to giving advice or giving your perspective or sharing your opinion, if that's something that they value, which they should, if they love you and you love them, you should value each other's opinions. You should give them your honest opinion. And I think that that's what they're looking for, if you guys actually do value each other. So I think that's a beautiful place to wrap this episode up. Again, it's going to be kind of a little short one. We should have an interview coming up real quick for you guys. If not, you'll probably just be stuck with me. So thank you so much for joining this podcast, for listening in, for supporting the journey. And hey, if you want to join a group like the one that I've got going right now on Telegram, we have daily conversations about this type of stuff. We also have weekly Zoom calls, and then on the occasional time we meet up in Vancouver, like trying to do this like once a month to do like hikes and stuff as well. But if that's a community you're looking to join, even if it's just for the daily group chats or the weekly Zoom calls, whatever, reach out to me on Instagram. My Instagram will be at the bottom of the screen here for anyone watching this video. But if you just listen to the podcast recording, it'll be in the show notes below or wherever the fuck the description is. But it's at Mark D. Henriksen. Thank you guys so much. And reach out to me if you feel like you just even need to chat. I'm here for you. But that's all I got for today. So thank you so much. If it's morning time, go out and have a great fucking day. If it's evening time, have a good night. Thank you so much. Much love and peace out. Oh, and if it's the afternoon, then keep fucking pushing. Get it. All right. That's all I got. Much love and peace out.